Hi, welcome into my studio. This is a zebra foal painting I recently completed. There's a 3-hour version of this video on my Patreon art channel for those that want to see a lot more details. And I've done this in oils in a more painterly fashion than I normally do. So I hope you enjoy this overview video. So let me start off by showing you what I've got on my easel. On the left I've got my canvas. I've toned it a mid-tone grey. I've got my palette the same grey on the side. That helps me judge the colours more easily. Transferred my drawing over and I've blacked in those black stripes just to make it easier to follow them. Another thing I like to do in my reference is drag out the colours, and I've got videos showing how I do that on YouTube. On the left I'm showing it with the grey background, so that's very similar to that mid-tone grey I toned the canvas. On the right that's just normal paper colour. And you can see how it affects and influences those colours when they're dragged out and how they look. So my recommendation, if you're using a tone canvas like I always do, to actually do your printout and your background a similar colour. And that will just make it easier when you're choosing those colours and mixing your paints. Okay, so let's start with the demonstration. You can see how close I've got my reference photo. I tried to get it there as close as possible to my painting and my drawing. Just makes it easier for your eyes to flash across and see what you're actually working from. And all I'm doing here is just basically putting in the whites in between the blacks. So as I said, I put those blacks in first of all because a zebra, more than any other animal, can be extremely confusing to know where the blacks are, where the whites are. And when you're putting in colours as well, that's one less thing you want to be concerned about. So the easiest way I found to tackle a zebra, just get those black stripes in straight away, and I've used just acrylic paint, and then put in the whites. Then we can work on refining it. Now, I'm not really concerning myself too much with the lighting effects coming on the zebra yet, but I have started to put in some of the background just to help me judge the colours and the tonal values of the painting. So I do this with pastels and oils as well, just putting in a little bit of background just to help me, as I said, judge all those other colours and tones. Here I've zoomed right in, just putting in the basics of the eye to start with. Very uncomplicated eye in this instance, and I'm also doing the same with the mouth and muzzle area, and just basically putting in the underpainting. I work in layers, so I start with, as I said, that underpainting, then I start to refine it as I begin to layer on top. And here you can see me adjusting the colour of the stripes. So put them in black straight away. It was just easier to do it that way. And then I started with my oils going on top with more realistic colours. And here you can see me putting in the background, very simple background. And I'm blending it there with a soft synthetic brush. And you can see as soon as that background goes in, it starts to make things look a lot more realistic. And here after that first layer dried, put a second layer in. It's a much more opaque layer and covers more easily. Just a suggestion there of a few flowers as well. As I mentioned, I'm doing a more painterly effect, so that means using larger brushes for a longer period of time and not getting obsessed and dragged into all the small fine hairs. So all I'm really looking at is just the basic major textures. And I'm concentrating as well on putting those textures in the direction of the fur growth. Here I'm just carrying on. There's stripe after stripe. There's so many stripes. You start seeing stripes in the end when you're doing zebras. Putting in that lovely mane. It's got a real warm effect as that strong sunlight is hitting it mainly towards the back but side on. And here I'm just putting in the outline of the mane and then starting to paint up towards that line. So I was just giving me an idea of where I wanted to put the upper hairs. Now I'm refining all the other areas. As I say, I'm building layers one upon another, and because I'm using alkyd oils, those layers dry by the next morning. If I was just using standard oils without a fast drying medium like liquid, then some of the white areas, if they were thick, could take many days to actually dry. So I find using an alkyd oil paint much better suited to my style. To put the details in on the mane, I'm using a large rigger brush, but once again I'm not getting too obsessed with extreme details. And now on this next layer, I'm really starting to refine the colours, adding much more texture and enhancing that light effect, but still trying to keep it more loose, more painterly. Darkening up areas, putting light on top of dark and dark on top of light. Lightening the dark stripes there where that extreme lighting is coming across, and also starting to put in the final details now around the mouth and nose. Underneath the neck we've got a lot of bounce light, so it's important to look for things such as that, those slight adjustments in colour. A zebra, as you can see, is anything except black and white, especially when they're young. There's a lot of browns in there, and because the extreme light is coming from the back, there's a lot of blues as well in those lighter white striped areas. Now if you're looking for more details and obviously a lot of real time, as I said, there's a 3-hour version of this on my Patreon art channel. You get access then to all the other videos that I've done on there over the past 2 years, so it's a real superb value for money. So for the price of a coffee or two, you get access for a full month on there. There's no contracts. You can join and leave as and when you want. Right at the end of the video I've put the paint in under studio light so you can see the true colours, and also a few zoomed in areas so you can just see how painterly I really have left this particular painting. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you all again real soon.